Hi, this is Zach here with the Bulletin Board Heroes here at Zach's Traders Cafe for Thursday, the 23rd of October. Starting off with the FTSE 100 as usual, and here we had the RSI 50 rebound at the beginning of the week and made good progress towards record highs. I think 95.77 the record there, so we're not too far off that. Top of the channel there from back in June up to 96.90, so that's what we're looking for by the end of next month. The way things are going, we might even get there by Halloween, but we'll see. And ideally, we stay above recent broken resistance around the 94.60 zone. If there is a rug pull, the floor of the channel and the 50-day moving average towards 9,300, the worst we are expecting at the moment. The DAX is next, and here it's also been a story of recovery, but not quite as good as the FTSE. Here you see we've backed off the best levels, 24,500, etc., 24,600 in fact. But at least we're above the 50-day moving average and the 24,000 zone. And while we're above that, still looking for potential move by the end of the next month or maybe the end of the year up to 26,000 or so. There is a rug pull. The 200-day line now at 23,000 is a potential place for support to come in 23,700 or so, but we're ideally expecting this market to stay above the 50-day line and actually to recover the RSI 50 level versus 49 at the moment. Dow is next, and here we broke that line of resistance from the beginning of the month, but it looks like we want to test it again, 46,200. But at least while we're above that, looking for the top of the May 2024 channel there as high as 48,300 and looking for that by the end of next month. On the downside, not expecting anything lower than the 50-day line, 45,800. We've got the RSI well above the neutral 50 level at 55, so that gives us confidence that the 50-day line would be the worst on any setback. Moving along to the cryptos, the first one is obviously Bitcoin, and here, so it's disappointing because at least we are on the right side of that rising 200-day moving average at 108. While we're above that, looking obviously for a retest of the 50-day line, but while we're between the 200 and the 50-day line, not really expecting fireworks. Really want to see an end-of-day close through the 50-day line and also back above the neutral 50 RSI level at 43 at the moment. Worst case on the downside, hopefully, is going to be the floor of the channel there around 103. But we have to factor in that we could have a rug pull down to as low as June support at 98,000. Ethereum is next, and obviously this is supposed to be the practical crypto, and at the moment we can see that the practicality has meant that it's outperforming the Bitcoin at the moment, given the way that we're still well above the 200-day moving average here. That's 32.29, and we're still well above the old August support there, 33.40 or so. Ideally, we stay at or above that uptrend line from April, so that's around the 37.40 level. And above that, looking for the 50-day line, 42.57. But at the moment, it looks like consolidation, and while the RSI is below neutral 50, it's 42 at the moment. Can't get too excited about what this market may do. Moving on to gold, and here we had the rug pull and a bit more actually. The view previously was that 40.60 could be the support. That was the initial high for October, and so far the low on the latest move has been 40.61. So has been around 40.66 rather. 40.81 was the low yesterday. So not far off in terms of potentially guessing the support area, but at least while we're above 40.60 on an end of day close basis, looking for the highs again towards 4,400, and the best case scenario target as high as 4,500 by the end of next month. That's a November resistance line projection on the daily chart. Moving along to the stocks, not too many again for the selection, but Aurrigo's back above its 50-day moving average. Not exactly the most followed company in the world, but a nice push through that, and good price action yesterday and today, opening the low, closing at the high. So we're looking for at least the 200-day moving average there at 60 pence. Best case would be the top of the channel, or where we think the top of the channel is there, 76 pence by the end of next month, while we're above the 50-day line, currently at 46 pence. Next up is First Tin, and according to my sources, tin seems to be doing quite well at the moment as well. Here you can see that we've already had the build for the shares, top of the channel there, up to 9 pence, and we're looking for that by the end of next month or much sooner. An RSI 50 plus rebound here, and also bounced above the rising 50-day line. In fact, we've been above that since the end of July. So strong looking chart, and one would imagine that 9p would be the best of the best that we can see over the near term. Moving along to Great West Mining, which has delivered a decent turnaround. What's interesting here is that we're actually starting to hold the 200-day line there at 1.75 above that, looking for 2.5 at the top of that rising trend channel from June. And ideally, we stay on the right side of recent support around the 1.6 level, and also maintain the RSI above the neutral 50 level versus 61 at the moment. Moving on to a situation which is, I suppose, one of the best explorer developer situations on the market. Started around 8.5p, and obviously we're over £1 now. Had a little bounce off the rising 50-day moving average there. Want to see the RSI back above neutral 50, but looks as though Guardian Metal already on its way, or wants to be on its way, to retest the highs of earlier this month through £1.40. We'll be looking for that by the end of next month, while we remain above the 50-day moving average. I covered ImmuPharma a few days ago, and the company very excited about its new website, which is obviously very exciting. Here you can see that we broke that line of resistance there from last month, around 10.75. Bit of resistance up to 14, which the shares have hit today, but above 14, looking for up to 23 or 24p by the end of next month, if we can get to 14p plus before the end of October. You can see we've now had 3 clear bounces off RSI 50, so that tends to be a very strong signal, a combination of signals on the upside. Normally just one is enough, as we've seen with the FTSE. Moving on to Sareum, and haven't covered this for quite a while. You can see here that we had the gap down, looks like an overshoot on the downside, bear trap rebound below 11.25. Above the floor of the channel there at around 13.8, looking for the top of the range, 26p perhaps by the end of next month. Only covering the next stock, because I didn't think I'd be covering it ever again, which is SupplyMe Capital. Here you can see that we actually had a legacy resistance line target there at 0.01. I'm not sure what I was thinking about at the time, because obviously the shares might never have come back, but very close to that, which is impressive. And I suppose the company will get the usual dose of defamation that it tends to get whenever it's around. But the upper parallel of that resistance line projection heading for 0.018, if that makes any sense, and maybe that could be a near-term target if we can stay above the 0.008 level. And also, I suppose fundraisers and other thing could be in the air as well, which might rather upset the apple cart for the bulls. But certainly coming back with a bang, I think, is what you can say on SupplyMe. Moving on to Tooru, which had a very decent update today, probably more decent than the 10% share price might suggest. In fact, we've got the shares gapping through the 50-day moving average, and the top of that falling trend channel there at 0.24, that's the initial target. Obviously, after that, we'll just be looking for a retest of that spike in July around 0.35. Ideally, we stay above that 50-day line now, 0.19, whatever happens. On to the last two. The first one is Thor Explorations, whom I interviewed, I think, a month or so ago. Here you can see with a rising trend channel, the floor of the channel there at 54p. While we're above that, looking for 80p by the end of next month, although obviously the setback in gold has knocked a little bit of the wind out of the sails there. But at least while the price channel holds, we are hopefully heading to new highs on that. Another Thor, in this case energy, and here you can see that the first target here, 0.85, nearly hit. The second target there, the upper parallel of that, heading towards 1.2p, and we're looking for that by the end of next month. If we can get a swift clearance of 0.85 on the right side, or this side of November. That's it from me today. More updates tomorrow.